I'm Lyndsey Croal. I'm the author of Dark Crescent, which comes out from Luna Press Publishing on June 3rd, and it's a collection of dark and seasonal tales inspired by Scottish folklore. And I'm going to read the first story from the collection, Dark Crescent. 2 nights before I was destined to die for a second time, the omen was painted clear across the sky. Everything was still save for the waves crackling on the grey pebbled beach. Then the humming began, distant and vague as if heard through a shell. With it came a dark crescent, moving across the sky, twisting like a murmuring of starlings. It wasn't an ordinary flock, in that it wasn't made of birds, but of lost spirits dipping and diving in the gloaming. I watched for a moment, willing my fluttering heart to still, but I knew what it meant, because I'd seen it once before. Back home, Alistair was setting a fire to ward off the cold. "Clear sky tonight?" "Yes," I lied. "It's funny." He turned, face scrunched up in thought. "I saw a flock of birds earlier, far from shore, all disoriented. They shouldn't be out after dark like that." My throat went dry. Must be the changing tides. He shrugged and returned to the fire. He didn't need to know that I'd seen them too. He wouldn't understand anyway if I explained what they meant. Off-islanders didn't believe the old tales. Besides, even if he did, he'd only try to intervene. And some things, once set in motion, can't be stopped. Ma taught me that. "No surer things than omens," she'd say. The next morning, Alistair headed to the shop, and I stayed to work on my latest commission, a seascape mosaic made from sea glass, broken pieces put together to make a whole. I'd finish it before the crescent returned. I didn't like leaving things incomplete. I worked carefully, smoothing dull blues and greens into sparkling jewels from the deep, giving them a new lease on life. Afterwards, I cleaned my studio and scrubbed under my fingernails until everything looked as good as new. Alistair made mussels for dinner. The smell of them wafted through the cottage and I inhaled the scent, savouring the earthiness. "You spoil me," I told him. "I did promise you the world." "No other world I'd rather be," I replied, holding his gaze. "I love you. Always remember that." His eyebrows knitted together like they often did when I said something vague or ominous. He pulled me close, wrapping me in the folds of his arms, kissing me in a crescent shape from lips to neck. That night, as he slept, I returned to the beach and watched the sky, waiting for the dark crescent to come. When it did, the shape was closer. I could make out the individual parts, a mosaic of spirits. Tomorrow, they'd be within reach. I was 10 when I first saw the dark crescent. Ma was gathering driftwood while exploring rock pools. She made wall hangings from broken pieces with woven thread that would hang like seaweed from uneven frames. I liked that she was creative, that we had something in common. I heard the sound first. The humming approached like a flutter of wings. "What's that noise?" Ma turned, eyes narrowed. "Just the sea, sweetheart." The noise grew louder, closer, but Ma didn't seem to notice. That's when I saw it. The dark shadow of moving shapes across the water, looking down in a rictus grin. I stood up. "What kind of birds are those?" Ma stared at me. "What birds?" When I pointed, she followed my gaze, but said nothing. Could she not see them? To me, they were impossible to miss. She hurried me home after that, leaving the gathered treasure behind despite my protests. Later, as she tucked me into bed, I asked her again about the shape in the sky. "Nothing for you to worry about." "But what did they want?" She stroked my hair. "Did you know flying things can be messengers to other lands?" I smiled and shook my head, settling in for one of her magical stories. She recounted tales of the other world, the land beneath the earth, the place where gods and spirits and dead things lived. I didn't understand death then, so it sounded like an exciting adventure. She double-locked my window that night, bolted the shutters, sprinkled salt on the sill. She did that sometimes, usually on Samhain or before a storm. Finally, she hung a hand-woven dream catcher over my bed, then kissed me lightly on the cheek. "I love you," she said. "Always remember that." The next morning, Ma was gone. I understood now what Ma had done, and in turn what I had to do next. No surer things than omens, no surer fate than death. The waves were calm on the final night when I reached the shore. I took my shoes off, stepping into the water, feeling the soothing chill between my toes as the salt-tinged breeze kissed my cheeks. Then the humming began, and in the stillness something rippled. A dark crescent matching the moon. It descended slow at first, then grew closer, until I could see the spirits clearly, forms billowed with blurred edges, limbs twisted and grotesque. I stole a final look back at the cottage. The windows were shuttered, salt sprinkled over every entry. Nothing would get in. I'd left Alistair a note explaining that I was leaving, that he shouldn't follow. He'd struggle with it at first, but it would save him the pain of thinking me gone without a trace. Hopefully he'd leave the island eventually, move on somewhere where darkness didn't dance and omens kept their distance. I turned back towards the dark crescent, the air changing around me. I stepped further into the water, ready, accepting my fate. When the spirits took me, they carried me on the air, higher and higher until I was part of the shroud. Then I was falling, descending fast as the humming turned to shrieks. But a single voice was clear amidst the cacophony, a familiar one. Nothing to worry about, sweetheart, just the sea.